I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Hey, it's the Sports Senseis Unleashed on your TV day once again for episode 32. We are live, myself, Drew Willingham, and the snowman, Brian Snow, back on your TV, on your cell phone, on your tablet, on your computer, or on your radio via WQEE 99.1 FM The Key. Welcome back.
32 of these. 32. O.J. Simpson wore that number. Magic Johnson wore that number. For a while, Shaquille O'Neal wore that number.
Yes.
32. Can you believe it? 32. We've done this 32 times.
There we have there, Snowman. We definitely have 32 episodes. Snowman's 30th episode.
Yep.
As he was, as Cole Johnson and Sick Dickie filled in for two of them. So this is technically Snowman's 30th edition.
Mm-hmm.
But we have 32 editions now of the Sports Senseis Unleashed as we are live on your TV. Welcome back, guys. We got a great show ahead of us today. Got some topics to discuss. And the biggest one that occurred last week, Snowman, the biggest one. MLB now, and of course, with what we learned yesterday, the MLB suspends Tim Anderson 6 games and Jose Ramirez 3 games for the fight last week. When watching what transpired there at second base, what were your thoughts running through your mind when you saw this fight take place? And do you think this is a fair punishment for these two guys?
Anybody remember what Nolan Ryan did to Robin Ventura?
Yes. That was legendary what he did to Robin Ventura.
Back in 1993.
Yeah.
That's what I saw with Tim Anderson challenging Jose Ramirez. And y'all know I'm a White Sox fan, but I also speak real. Tim Anderson, you big dummy. You fool. You idiot. And you're supposed to be the leader of this team? Who told that lie? Those are my thoughts.
Absolutely. I mean,
who told the lie that Tim Anderson in that instance, and that instance only, was the leader of the team? You're having a god-awful season. I just thank the Lord that my opinion remains that you bought when you won the division in 2021, you got yourselves a 7-year window to win a couple of more division titles. 7 to 9 years. Because they have a great farm system. Don't get it twisted. They have a great farm system. They just got the wrong people in place up top with no nerve. And what you saw in that fight encapsulates the White Sox season. Knock the out early.
Yeah. And, for your team there, Snowman, I know that this is not a great representation that you won as part of your ball club. And I'm going to share a story that actually occurred 2 days ago
All right.
I have not spoke much of my DC Cubs over the last couple weekends because after a hot start to this season, and now with we were 5-0 to start the season, now 2-4 to end the season, go to the playoffs, sweep the first round, go to the second round of semifinals, win the first 2 games in a best of 3 out of 5 series. So all we had to do is win 1 game going into this weekend. We lost on Saturday. Sunday gets here. We get to the bottom of the 6th, but in 2 outs. And our pitcher, who surprisingly is one of our best hitters on our team, is up to the plate. Gets called a strike 3 looking on a ball that was like way outside the zone. Should have been ball 4 and bases loaded because we had runners on second and third. He ejects my man out of the game. Now, keep in mind, this happened after the Tim Anderson, Jose Ramirez fight that happened last week. Okay, so all of this is fresh on the players' minds. My pitcher starts going off on the umpire, because he called him a strike. Well, no, take that back. He tossed his bat, which can't throw your equipment. Can't throw the bat. He tossed the bat when he did that because he knew how important that guy was. He was our ace. He had pitched all 6 innings leading to that point. We were only down by 1 run. He tossed him from the game for tossing the bat. So my guy starts yelling in his face. I'm coaching first base, getting ready to walk off because it was the 3rd strike and it was the 3rd out of the inning. So we have to go back to the dugout, of course, because we're going back on the field or whatnot. So first base coach, I see that he starts tearing into him. I sprint all the way from first base to home. I did like a 440, like real quick, apparently from what my guys in the dugout. So they'd never see me move that quick, even when I was a player. Like I moved so fast from first base, got in between the 2, and started yelling at the ump, like, how are you going to throw my guy out, defending him? Because that's what, coaches do. He says, oh, you can go too. Well, he didn't actually toss it. He was like insinuating, oh, you can go.
Right.
That set my pitcher off to where he now slings the helmet. But guess who he hits with the helmet? He hits me with the helmet because he's like 10 feet back, slings the helmet as hard as he can, hits me in the back. So I get mad, start yelling. Well, that apparently, he felt bad, but that even made him even more mad at the umpire. So what does he do? He goes to start hitting the umpire. He takes all 4 of us because he's so mad. It takes 4 of us. Keep in mind, I'm not at full strength from what happened to me 4 months ago.
Yeah,
I'm trying to hold him back along with a couple other players. Eventually, he gets free, goes and cold clocks the umpire in the jaw. This is all after Tim Anderson and Jose Ramirez happened last week. Keep in mind. So me in the mix of this, just had a stroke, not too long ago, dealing with all this stuff was a rough time. Definitely was some turmoil that goes through our team. We're probably going to lose our guy for the rest of the season because you cannot hit an umpire. And that's something that we don't even see in the game of baseball. And I wanted to bring this up because, one, it's a heartbreaking situation because he was one of the best guys on our team. 2, he's a good kid outside the game. He's young. He still has some room to grow. He's 20 years old, still has some maturing to do. And especially when you're hitting a guy. But overall, this, it's not cool to have to be a part of that kind of stain on it because it doesn't really represent him as a person. I can at least speak up on his behalf for that. But what I can say is that it was a rough outing on Sunday. And it's situations like these in the game of baseball, like with Tim Anderson and like with Jose Ramirez on national television.
Right.
That when guys who are younger than 20 years old, like my guy here who happened to see this and reenact it, but you got younger kids seeing this on TV. They don't need to be going and hitting other players on the field. They definitely don't need to be going after the umpires, the officials of the game. Now, when it comes to this situation right here with 6-game suspension for Tim Anderson and 3 games for Jose Ramirez, I don't know if that's severe enough punishment or not. And I
agree. I agree.
And you've got him on your team for the White Sox, and like you just said, it hurts your team because he's one of the best guys on your team. I mean, he is the shortstop for your team.
He's one of the captains.
2-time All-Star, back-to-back defending time All-Star in 2021.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing with Tim Anderson. He didn't. He reluctantly accepted the captaincy like Paul Konerko did years earlier. But he and Jose Abreu, before Abreu got traded, were the co-captains of the team. And Tim Anderson, he's fiery. He loves to play. He loves to play. But he had to be reminded sometimes you got to keep your attitude in check, which led to reports coming out that there's no rules in the White Sox locker room. and after 2021, I intend to agree, because what happened? They had a rash of injuries last year. This year we had a rash of injuries, but they didn't bounce back from either. They didn't bounce back from either year. There's not a person in place outside of Tim Anderson that will here's the word, galvanizes the team. There's not a person there. Let me go back to the Nationals. 2019 started 19-31, and then Max Scherzer got it together. Steven Strasburg got it together. They held a couple of players only meetings, and the next thing you know, they're running all the way to October. Yes. And winning the World Series in Houston. Okay, there's that one player. The White Sox need to either bring up or draft that one player, a la Jeremy Pena for the Houston Astros, that will galvanize that team. Because Pena, even as a rookie last year, when Altuve went down for a while, Alvarez went down for a while, who'd they lean on? Jeremy Pena. So that one player is missing. That's what the White Sox are missing, that one player that'll be tough enough to take on all these attitudes outside of the manager and say, look, we got to play better as a team. Because right now I'm just seeing individual performances, and that pisses me off. I don't like seeing that from my ball club.
I mean, what should also really set you off is, Tim Anderson, like you pretty much mentioned, is one of the core players of your team.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's been on a 5-year tear, Snowman. Since 2019, he got the AL Batting Champion Award in 2019. In 2020, he was a Silver Slugger Award winner. And then back-to-back All-Star for the past 2 years. This is year 5 of that 5-year tear. And right there in the mix of it, you're getting caught up in this situation.
And remember, Tim Anderson won the Field of Dreams game with a walk-off home run against the Yankees 2 years ago.
Yes, that was a great game to watch.
Yeah, it was.
I bring that back.
My wife hates baseball. Okay, she's made that very, very clear to me. She hates baseball. But when I pulled that clip up the next morning while she was getting ready to go to work and I was getting ready to sign on my computer, she was leaning over my shoulder going, "Wait a minute, what happened?" And she saw that ball disappear. That ball disappear into the corn, and now it had the wheels turning in my wife Jody's head of me visiting that stadium when we do our mega stadium tour. And this was her idea. And we were driving home last night. We were talking about it. We were talking about our potential move, which way we want to go. And Jody came up with the idea of the ultimate stadium tour. And she put in front of it for a cancer survivor. So that was the discussion last night when you rang, and it was my time. It was my time with her. It's nothing against you, but when she came up with that idea and the idea started rolling, and she also suggested that you and me, Brother Sensei, invade VCU and do a baseball game there.
Well, yeah, I definitely like the sound of that. We'll definitely see how things pan out with that. But let's acknowledge these comments that we got from our automatic feedback zone, that you like to call it. Welcome, gentlemen, 32 times and awaiting 32 more. Well, I'm dedicated. I'm here on Tuesdays. When I say I'm going to be there, I am there. Victor
That you are
here.
That you are.
Instructions, Sensei. Well, the instructions are: we are here. We are locked and loaded. Sensei's here for episode 32. Tim Anderson got 6 games for getting knocked out. He got when you
got knocked cold.
I wish I could play the clip, but I didn't have time to grab it. But when you think about how he got hit, he didn't even look like he got hit that hard. The umpire, the reason why I told that story was the umpire in this game, who's like in his 50s, got clocked harder than Tim Anderson did.
Yeah, he did.
And just took like 2 steps back, was still on his feet. Tim Anderson must not have got any scraps when he was a kid. Just all he did was play shortstop and get awards, because when he took that shot, it looked like he didn't get hit that hard. I know the momentum of the swing, but it didn't look like it really caught him that much.
It really didn't look that. It really didn't look that way. It really didn't look that way. So, Deeds, welcome to you. Welcome to David 3000. I want to hear what you two have to say about the Orioles suspension. We're talking about TV announcer Kevin Brown. Okay. Kevin Brown got suspended for bringing up facts. What?
Yeah, during the Rays game.
He brought up facts of the Orioles and the Rays, and they suspended them for it. What?
Yeah.
And other announcers are outraged at that because we come up with, I'm a play-by-play announcer, we do facts all the time. We do our bleeping research. Drew, you know this. You did a baseball game. We got to research a lot.
Oh, it's because he basically threw shade on the Orioles because he said that the Orioles in the broadcast on July 23rd, he said that the Orioles had won more games at Tampa Bay's Tropicana Field in 2023 than the last 3 years combined.
So now, what's the problem with that?
I don't know. I feel like this is a political move because they must have been trying to find a way to get him out for a while because that's what it seems like. Because yeah, I mean, I guess the way your stat, and I haven't listened to how he said it, so there could have been some tone in there too.
Maybe
it could have been a condescending tone. So we got to give him that.
It's happened to some of the best announcers I know. I've seen it. Let's take a quick break because I have to run to the restroom. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back to this, and we got a whole lot more. That's Brother Sensei Drew, Sensei Snowman here. Back in a minute.
Yeah. But hey, that was last year, and what did he was out,
right? And now he's in.
But he's been out for an entire year. It's not, you can't think he's going to make the same impact that he did before he was suspended.
I'm telling you, he won't have to.
See how he going to keep his phone down and not make bets?
Come
on, man.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning-fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back, but you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now.
Call 866-314-8900. That's 866-314-8900. Again, 866-314-8900.
If you're the kind of person that likes to drive a lot and your car is a little bit older and out of the normal warranty, keep listening. What's going on underneath the hood of your car? If your car is out of warranty, you're at risk of expensive repair bills. Now, for a couple of dollars a day, you can get an extended protection plan for your car. Hey, you love your car, so why not give it a little extra care? And make sure if something goes wrong, your bank account is safe. Literally, for a couple of dollars a day, you can give yourself peace of mind that you purchased a top-tier vehicle repair coverage plan. Call the Auto Protection Network right now and ask how you could save an additional $500 on your policy.
Call 877-845-0463. Call now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from a commercial break that was not as long as a TNT broadcast commercial. That being the Sports Sensei's Unleashed. Welcome back. Snowman is on an extended break, I see, and I guess I will continue to take the reins of the show. Let's go ahead and talk to the fans in the comments and see what they have to say. Victor Locke, of course, said awaiting instructions, Sensei's, along with Ryan McCarthy. there at the beginning. And, of course, acknowledge there Mr. Dietz one more time with the 32 times and awaiting on 32 more. Well, again, you know I am here each and every week, ready, locked, and loaded. And we shall see if we can get 32 more. I hope so as well. And, of course, we were talking about that Orioles suspension going into the abrupt commercial break that we had there momentarily. When it comes to Kevin Brown, has been removed from the team's broadcast over a comment that he made during July 23rd's Orioles series with the Tampa Bay Rays. And what happened was he basically said that the Orioles had won more games at Tampa Bay's Tropicana Field in 2023 than the last 3 years combined. And, you know, Snowman and I were talking about that. Welcome back, Snowman, from your extended break there. As we need to get back to this Orioles topic that David 3000 brought up as we were talking about before we went to a quick commercial break. And now, Snowman, when it comes to Kevin Brown, do you feel like this is a little bit severe? Because, you know, it's like I was saying, when it comes to the tone in which he could have said it, I haven't heard it, so it could have been condescending. I don't know if you've listened to it, which is why I wanted to bring it back up.
This is a stupid move for bringing up facts, for making a comparison about how many times they've won in the last 3 years in Tampa Bay compared to this year. The Orioles are having an out-of-sight year. They have the best record in the American League. They kicked Tampa Bay's ass. Okay? Be happy. Be happy that your announcer didn't say anything the same way Glenn Kuiper did, the former announcer for the Oakland A's. Be happy that he's making a comparison to from this team this year with 70 wins to the last 3 years where the Orioles sucked. Be happy that he is pumping up your team, and facts need to be included. I'm going to reference the late great Jim Durham, who made comparisons all the time. The Bulls pre-Michael Jordan and with Michael Jordan. He made those comparisons all the time. Him and Johnny Red Kerr. Nobody said anything to them. But now the Baltimore Orioles as an organization want to bring up or suspend Kevin Brown for bringing up something that's actually factual. What the hell is wrong with this picture? It's stupid.
It is. And Dietz, no, it's not the same Kevin Brown that broke.
No. It ain't. It's not sidearm throwing. It's not sidearm throwing Kevin Brown.
And Ryan McCarthy adds in for what we were talking about earlier. Anderson got 6 games for starting the fight. Ramirez got 3 for finishing it.
Should have been more for both.
Yes.
Should have been more for both.
What the Orioles did was classless act that you
absolutely
been there before. When the Baltimore Orioles people have to accept the fact that they were awful since Cal Ripken Jr. left.
So bingo. And the only playoff appearance in Baltimore was 2000. The last 2 playoff appearances for the Orioles were 2013 and 2014. In 2014, they got swept by the Kansas City Royals in the American League Championship Series.
Speaking of baseball,
yes, sir.
When we got I forgot to add that other one in there last night because for what we had, because the other topics that we were talking about today, you know, we've got NFL training camp news. Mm-hmm. Snowman, let's go ahead and move on to the NFL and see what we got in store for that. You know, you've been covering the Indianapolis Colts.
I have.
And what is it that you have been seeing out here since training camp has been underway now that we are in preseason glory?
I'm scared. I'm scared for 2 reasons. 1, we don't know what we're going to see with Anthony Richardson. And 2, the Jonathan Taylor situation. Are they going to pay him? Are they going to trade him? Are they going to keep him? Even though he's requested a trade, even though the running backs are not getting the money that they quote unquote deserve. And I put the word deserve in quotes because you and I have talked about it before off the air. Running backs have a shelf life.
Yeah.
The running backs have a shelf life. And it's unfortunate to say that out loud, but they have a shelf life. If you, I think Dietz is the one who said this. If you play in the NFL more than 10 years, and the last running back to do that, I believe, was Adrian Peterson. I believe the last running back to play plus 10 years was Adrian Peterson. If you play plus 10 years as a running back, especially on the team that would love to run the football, like the Colts, like the 49ers, like the Chiefs, like the Eagles, then you've done a damn good thing. They wanted to build their offense around Jonathan Taylor. But Jim Irsay is stupid for doing the thing that he did.
Did Frank Gore retire after Adrian Peterson or at the same time? Because it felt like he was there for 20 years.
It was after AP.
It felt like he was there for 20 years.
It felt like it, didn't it?
Yeah.
It felt like he played in the NFL for 20 years. I think Frank Gore played 13 years.
Yeah.
I think he played 13 years.
Longer than that.
Yeah. Hey, we got two versions of Drew.
We do. I was trying to fix something real quick. I was trying to get the one part situated where we had the scrolling thing for the one that I wanted to bring up earlier. But
right.
When it comes to training camp news, I think that the biggest thing that I've seen since preseason started was DTR of the Cleveland Browns, the backup quarterback, Deshaun Watson. Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Yeah, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Yeah. I feel like he's going to do some really special things in the NFL at some point, and I don't think it's going to be for the Cleveland Browns. I think someone needs to make a move for him while they have the opportunity to get him at a cheaper price tag, because he has these opportunities to do what he did in that Hall of Fame game. He's going to get paid eventually. Mm-hmm. He's going to play.
He's got to pay out his rookie contract. Let me make a quick correction here on Frank Gore. Frank Gore was the last player to play 10 plus years because he played a total of, ready for this, 16 seasons.
That's what I was thinking.
16 years.
That's what I was thinking, because when I had a feeling that he was the last one to play over Adrian Peterson.
16 years Frank Gore played in the NFL. DTR will be signed by someone who desperately needs a quarterback. I believe Stetson Bennett will get the ball more than Matthew Stafford in Los Angeles. And the 49ers are not going to play Brock Purdy in the preseason, and I don't blame them. And remember, Nick Bosa is holding out for a new contract. They're working on that to get it done, to get him the highest paid defensive end in the NFL. So Purdy's not going to play, nor should he. The snaps will come to Sam Darnold and then Trey Lance. And I don't think Trey Lance is long for the 49ers either.
No.
I don't think Trey Lance is long for the 49ers.
It's going to be interesting to see how things pan out for that team. And when it comes to my team, when it comes to the Commanders, they've been looking pretty solid so far at training camp. I mean, of course, last night with episode 100 that you missed there, Snowman, Kyle Nash and I were talking about Sam Howell and how he's been looking. And of course, he likes to throw shade on Sam Howell, but I speak very highly of him because of what he did.
Is he going to be the guy
in the Week 18 game?
Is he going to be the guy for the Redskins? Sam Howell?
I feel like he will. I like what he did. I really like what he did last year in that Week 18 game. I like what I'm seeing so far. You could tell that he has been studying and working hard on this new offensive system that Eric Bieniemy is bringing in.
Do you give him the keys now?
Yeah.
And let him take the offense going forward. Do you give Sam Howell the keys now?
I believe so, because when I look at the Washington Commanders roster and I think about, the biggest thing, he showed me so much potential in that game last year in Week 18 with what he was able to overcome with a team that, was already eliminated from the playoffs.
Yep.
A team that, everybody had written off. They'd written him off. When it comes to the caliber of player that he'd been, because people like Kyle Nash want to throw shade on the fact that he played for the ACC, which I get it. I know you're not 100% sold on that conference because of what they've produced for talent over the years. And I don't blame you at the same time. Don't take it as me throwing shade. But when it comes to the quarterbacks on the roster for the Washington Commanders, you got Jacoby Brissett, who has had some flashes of great games in the past when he played with the Colts. And, of course, he was a backup to the legend that Snowman doesn't want to acknowledge is the greatest quarterback of all time, being Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II. But when it comes to Jacoby Brissett, I feel like Sam Howell has a much higher ceiling than Jacoby Brissett.
I agree.
That he has.
And
then you got Jake Fromm out of Georgia, who is got 3 years of experience in the league, but definitely has not really accounted for much of playing time or much production from the quarterback position. So when I think about all that, you have to go with Sam Howell. You have to give him the keys and see what he has, unless you make a trade for somebody during the season, which there's nobody available to really do, and it's too late in the year, as we're seeing with the Dalvin Cook situation, with him getting released late, still not on a team, and when he does get there, he's not going to really be able to do but so much starting out. He's going to be limited in plays because he's going to have very little time to study that actual playbook.
Yeah, and Washington would be a great fit for Dalvin Cook, but no one's taking it. No one's taking a chance on him. Speaking of running backs, the 49ers have Christian McCaffrey. Not only is he healthy, they get a full season with him now, and they've already extended him. So, as I said, they're just trying to find the money to pay Nick Bosa, which they will. But I agree with you. The Redskins need to give Sam Howell the keys right now. Give him the keys. Let him learn the playbook. Didn't Franco I think it was a year ago that he retired.
It was 2020 was his last year. I think.
Okay, it was 2020.
Year,
okay.
So this will be the third year without Frank Gore. If I'm right, he might have played 2021, but I doubt it. I think it was
2020 with the Jets. With the Jets.
And then he says, DTR watched the game tape against Arizona last year. Drew, your comments may change. He was putrid that night in a game that mattered. Well, what was different to me now is this is after that. This is the NFL. This is a different level. And with what he did in an NFL game, even though it was preseason, I can't write him off yet because we did see some flashes of potential from DTR that if Deshaun Watson, who is famous for injuries, goes down, we're going to have somebody who can step in and be a solid backup and much more potentially to where the Browns will have some trade capital at some point because, he's on a rookie contract. He's fresh into the league. So DTR is locked in for some time on that deal.
That's good.
And which is it's good for them. It looks like it's some good insurance because you're locked into that Deshaun Watson guaranteed contract. That stupid contract that you signed for Deshaun Watson. And now you may potentially have some decent insurance because, the last full season where Deshaun Watson was productive was when, Snowman?
I forgot.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, you overpaid for this man. You are overpaying him. And
you don't know when his last productive year was. It wasn't with Cleveland, I'll tell you that much.
No, and
the last productive year with Deshaun Watson was 2019 when he took him to the divisional round, and they blew a 24-0 lead.
It's ridiculous.
They blew a 24-0 lead.
It is absolutely ridiculous when you think about the Deshaun Watson contract of 5 years, $230 million. It's fully guaranteed.
Fully guaranteed.
An average salary of $46 million.
Why can they do that? Why can they do that for Baker Mayfield? He was injured just as often as Deshaun Watson.
Just think.
Why didn't they do that for Baker Mayfield?
This man is still going to make another $186 million for the next 4 years.
Yep.
And he's not going to earn it.
He's not.
He's not going to earn it. What's funny is what DTR's contract. I got to see what his contract is. I'm pretty sure the standard rookie contract is 4 years. So it's going to be funny if DTR is there for the entire time that Deshaun Watson's there. And he signed a 4-year, $4 million contract that includes a $342,000 signing bonus. For an average annual salary of just over $1.4 million is what DTR's got. So you think about that, he is making $45 or $44.5 million less a year than Deshaun Watson. And just think, if we're going to have to talk about this in 4 years, if DTR was, and we're going to save this clip, if DTR was more successful for the Browns in the next 4 years from 2023 to 2026, in the 4 years of playing, we got to see what these contracts live up to. Because I got a feeling DTR is going to outplay Deshaun Watson at certain points of these contracts.
He's going to do it this year. Watch this.
He might. He just might.
Hey, I got a present for you. Hey, Cowboy Nation, what you're about to see is the final game of Ezekiel Elliott's career.
Final play looks like a penalty. Prescott over the middle of the turret gets smoked right away, and that'll do it. The 49ers back to the championship game.
Oh, that was
the
great.
last game of Ezekiel Elliott's career, and he got run over by Aziz Al-Shair, the linebacker for the 49ers. And no one's going to pick him up. No one's going to pick up Ezekiel Elliott.
That doesn't look promising for old Zeke going forward. And
No,
at the same time, that's the way that play was designed. That's more of a fault on Mike McCarthy.
It is
in the play calling, because what in the hell was that play to begin with? Like, we're absolutely baffled at what that play was. That
you know what's bad? You know what's bad about that play? The 49ers called timeout. The 49ers called timeout. They gave Mike McCarthy an extra 45 seconds to think of something different. And the Cowboys had a timeout to use.
That's terrible.
Yes. That was awful.
While Zeke's out there, standing there, saying this.
Acknowledge me.
Acknowledge you for sucking is what I'm going to acknowledge you for. That's what
I'm acknowledging Zeke for getting run the hell over on that final play. I'm acknowledging Zeke for getting run over.
This may happen during the offseason to him.
You're fired.
Pretty much.
I love it.
Out went for Zeke.
Yep, that's for Zeke and for Dalvin. Give me that one for Dalvin Cook. That was for Dalvin Cook also.
Oh, wait, that one's for Dalvin Cook?
You're fired.
For a while, it was for DeAndre Hopkins.
You're fired.
And now he's with the team that has no quarterback in Tennessee.
Yeah.
There's no quarterback in Tennessee. There's no quarterback with it. Who the hell's going to throw to DeAndre Hopkins?
Will Levis?
Oh, God.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Absolutely. Absolutely right.
Some people.
You can't handle the truth.
And unfortunately for my wife's team, the Indianapolis Colts, it holds true. Damn! When my wife looks at me, and my wife is a Colts fan, okay? When my wife looks at me and sees Anthony Richardson as their starting quarterback and shakes her head, there are problems.
Yeah, but I remember around the draft that you weren't talking so sour about him either, though. You were a little high on him around the drafts, though, man.
You know what I was? I want to see him in a game. I still have hopes for Anthony Richardson. I do. Don't get it twisted. I do. I just want them to solve this Jonathan Taylor situation, either pay him or trade him and get it over with, and give Anthony keys to the offense right now, and let me see what he does in a game. And I'm not talking preseason games, Drew. I'm talking about September 10th and beyond. Because you only get 3 shots in the preseason to know, learn, and execute the offense. And that's at the preseason when everybody plays. I'm waiting to see him September 10th and beyond.
Dietz is calling us out for where are you coming up with the injury prone tag for Deshaun Watson. The guy has had one injury since entering the NFL, and it was an ACL tear in 2017. Just to speak Kevin Brown style facts.
I love Dietz for that.
Now, Dietz, if you want to throw a little shade, but that ACL tear definitely impacted that one season significantly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll throw the injury prone tag on, because if your injury cost the team an entire season, when you have JJ Watt still in his prime at that time, you had a team that was hungry for a run in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens? Deshaun Watson, making bad decisions, gets hurt, scrambling around. Why? Because he's a quarterback that's over mother, father, and paid, does not deserve $230 million guaranteed. So you tell me how his play on that team in Houston warranted a $230 million fully guaranteed contract for a team just so he would bring his services to a team that's known for sucking in the Cleveland Browns. Known for bad
decisions and late bad late game decisions.
Absolutely.
Red Right 88, anyone?
Yes, absolutely. Guys, we're going to go ahead and take this on into another commercial break. When we come on back, we're going to get to our weekly segment of sports history within this week in history. We'll see you on the other side here shortly.
Yeah. But hey, that was last year. And what did he was out.
Right. And now he's in.
But he's been out for an entire year. It's not, you can't think he's going to make the same impact that he did before he was suspended.
I'm telling you, he won't have to.
What?
See how
Is he going to keep his phone down and not make bets?
Come
on, man.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back, but you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now.
Call 866-314-8900. That's 866-314-8900. Again, 866-314-8900.
If you're the kind of person that likes to drive a lot and your car is a little bit older and out of the normal warranty, keep listening. What's going on underneath the hood of your car? If your car is out of warranty, you're at risk of expensive repair bills. Now, for a couple of dollars a day, you can get an extended protection plan for your car. Hey, you love your car, so why not give it a little extra care and make sure if something goes wrong, your bank account is safe. Literally, for a couple of dollars a day, you can give yourself peace of mind that you purchased a top-tier vehicle repair coverage plan. Call the Auto Protection Network right now and ask how you could save an additional $500 on your policy.
Call 877-845-0463. Call now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a show that when we have it scheduled, we show up and not let you down. Here for episode 32 of the Sports Sensei's Unleashed. We are back from a commercial break. Snowman, the thing that I want to talk about before we go into our sports history topics, though, is Gilbert Arenas' comments on Team USA's FIBA World Cup roster were out of line. Do you feel like they were out of line, or do you feel like
What did he say?
Oh, he called them a quote-unquote sorry-ass team.
No, they're not out of line.
You don't think that his comments were out of line when he said about this team?
Not no, but hell no.
Why is this, Snowman?
Who's on the team?
I mean, you haven't looked at the roster to see who's on the team?
Who's on the team?
Well, Snowman, you're supposed to be excited about this. This is basketball FIBA World Cup.
I don't
Snowman,
care.
FIBA World Cup.
I don't care. I don't care.
But it's sports, Snowman.
Hell no to the no. I don't care. The comments aren't out of line. He is. It's the FIBA World Cup where you have, I think, Jalen Brunson's on the. You don't have any stars on that team. Save Jalen Brunson. Quit it.
I mean,
I'd
you
say if
got
my
Nic-
wife's
you got
with, I get in
Nikola
trouble.
Jokic. Oh, no, he's part of Serbia's team.
I rest my case. The best player is playing. The best player in the NBA is playing with his country. Who in the vital blue hell do we have to stop him? If the Miami Heat couldn't stop Nikola Jokic, if the LA Fakers couldn't stop Nikola Jokic, who the hell's going to stop him in the FIBA World Cup? Playing by his rules, playing by international rules.
The stars of the team look like Brandon Ingram of the Pelicans, Josh Hart of the New York Knicks, Jaren Jackson of the Memphis Grizzlies, Bobby Portis of the Milwaukee Bucks, and Austin Reeves of the LA Lakers. Yeah, they don't have any star power.
In 4 words, I rest my case. I rest my case.
Yeah.
The best players are not risking their bodies to play in the FIBA World Cup. No. Hell no. Hell no to the no. Hell no.
Well, we got some more shade thrown at us for the last one. The only bad injury Deshaun Watson had was having a brain fart in the usage of massage therapist as masturbation on lockers. Cole Johnson of Cole Sports definitely with that one. That was
In the immortal words of Jack Buck for that comment, pardon me while I stand up and applaud.
yes.
Gilbert Arenas made a comment. Next.
No, I don't think his comments were out of line. I think that he is out of line. Yes, absolutely, definitely.
Can we get the Wonder Bread Choir again, please?
You want the Wonder Bread?
That was titled Gilbert Arenas is out of line.
I guess then he should be the head coach and say this when they lose.
That's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely right. That's why I looked in this camera and I asked you, who the hell's on the roster? Who the hell is on the roster?
All right, next.
Yes, next.
All right, history this week in sports, and we'll start with Monday, August 7th. And in 1929, New York Yankees slugger Babe Ruth ties MLB record by hitting grand slams in consecutive games for the second time in a 13-1 win versus the Philadelphia A's.
Mm-hmm.
Which, for that time frame, it's still awesome to see legendary moments from Babe Ruth on these days because, you just got to show how much of an impact he made during that time in baseball.
Let me put a soundbite to one of Cole Sports' comments. Gilbert Arenas made a comment. Next!
That was awesome. In 1956, on that same date, August 7th, 51-year-old Satchel Paige of the Miami Marlins minor league team wins a game before the largest crowd in minor league history, 57,000 at Miami's Orange Bowl International League Marlins 6-2 victory over the Columbus Jets.
57, that damn.
Yeah, in 1956 for a minor league game.
They couldn't get 57,000 at Joe Robbie Stadium when they won the World Series.
It just goes to show you the impact of integration and stuff like that. At that time, that was a big part of that. 57,000 for a minor league game.
And I love
August 7th.
And I love Satchel Paige. I absolutely adored Satchel Paige. I had a chance to see some clips of him. I adored Satchel Paige. But a minor league game, 57,000. The Miami Marlins of today couldn't draw 57,000 at Joe Robbie Stadium. Hell, they barely draw 20,000 at Lone Depot Park, for God's sakes. And they're competing for a wild card. Tampa Bay Rays, anyone?
Absolutely. Over the past 3 weeks, we've discussed the fact on these days of talking about things in sports history, and I know you're going to remember this. In 1956, Boston Red Sox slugger Ted Williams fined $5,000 for spitting at heckling Boston fans for a third time in 3 weeks. This is the third time in 3 weeks we're talking about this.
Yep.
when it comes to sports history.
Yep.
And I just thought that was pretty ironic that we're talking about that now.
It is.
On the same date of August 7th in 1972, Yogi Berra, Sandy Koufax, Lefty Gomez, early win, Josh Gibson, Will Harridge, Buck Leonard, and Ross Youngs are inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Definitely a good time.
That's a pitching staff. That's a pitching staff and a half.
Yeah. Now, Snowman, I'm gonna take you back to 1991.
Oh, 91. Let's hear it.
I'm gonna see if you remember this. 1991. The American team of Carl Lewis, Mike Marsh, Leroy Burrell, and Dennis Mitchell set the 4x100 meter relay world record of 37.67 seconds in Zurich, Switzerland.
Watched it live.
You did.
Watched it live. You want to talk about speed kills? There you go. Speed definitely kills, especially with that 4x100 team.
On the same date, in August 7th, 1999, Tampa Bay Rays, Devil Rays at that time, third baseman Wade Boggs becomes the first MLB player to hit a home run for his
3,000th hit.
Devil Rays still lost 15-10.
I remember that game. Paul Olden, my good friend, who's the PA voice at Yankee Stadium, was on the call. I think he was on the television call for that. And Wade Boggs hitting a home run for his 3,000th hit. They blew the roof off of Tropicana Field. It was one of the few times Tropicana Field was sold out for a regular season game. And like you said, they still lost that game 15-10. But what took everybody over was Wade Boggs with his 3,000th hit. You know, I'm expecting Boggs, and anyone who's watched Wade Boggs knows he's a pepper hitter. He singles all over the place, and he can spray the ball all over the field. A home run for his 3,000 hit, incredible.
Speaking of same baseball, in 2004 on that same day, Greg Maddux gets his 300th career win in the Chicago's 8-4 triumph versus San Francisco Giants at SBC Park when he was with the Cubs.
Oh, my gosh. Greg Maddux.
And then, it gets bigger for history for this date on August 7th, 2007. San Francisco Giants slugger Barry Bonds hits his 756th career home run to break Hank Aaron's long-standing record.
Dwayne Kuiper's words, he stands alone. I'm trying to get the radio call of that home run so I can sync the video with the audio. Like I did. I'll have to find something. Go on to the next one. On
August 7th of 2010, on that same date, Jerry Rice, Emmett Smith, John Randall, Russ Grimm, Ricky Jackson, Floyd Little, and Dick LeBeau are inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. What were your thoughts on that day there, Snowman?
What a class. What a Hall of Fame. What a Hall of Fame class. I mean, you can't get any better than that. You can't get any better than that. I mean, oh my gosh. Some of the players you named on that list who were inducted into the Hall of Fame. I mean, I watched John Randall, Jerry Rice, man. I watched their entire careers. I watched their entire careers, man. And you can't get any better than that. You can't get any better than that.
You can't. Let's move on to the next day on August 8th. August 8th of 1985. Baseball's new agreement permits two new NL teams in 1993, which happened to become the Colorado Rockies
and the
then Florida Marlins.
And the Florida Marlins.
What were your thoughts when we brought two new teams into the league there, Snowman?
Watched both of those games when they debuted, and it's just like, wow. Baseball is in Colorado. Remember, they had the Denver Gold for a while for baseball playing at Mile High Stadium. And a shout to the late, great Charlie Jones, who was the football voice for NBC for many, many years. And he voiced the Colorado Rockies for a long time on their television network, which at one time had one of my favorite hitters, Andres the Giant Galarraga.
Yes, he did. In 1988, on that same date, on August 8th, the Cubs and Phillies attempt to play the first ever night game at Wrigley Field, but it's rained out in the fourth inning with Chicago leading 3-1. What were your thoughts at that point? So, man,
they played the next night, and that next night was officially their first night game at Wrigley Field, and I saw the light stanchions. They were showing on the news. I was living in Chicago at the time. They were showing on the news all the light stanchions they added. And I looked at my dad and he looked at me, and we both thought, what the hell was that? Because they changed it around now. They changed it around now where you could, because it looked dark. And I don't mean that, I mean that because of how the lights were situated. Okay. And then the rain took over, and since then they've shaped it up. Yeah. I'll give you that. They shaped it up. It's like, hey, bringing this up. It's like when Penn State played a late afternoon game at Northwestern, and they had no lights at Dyke Stadium, what was then called Dyke Stadium in Evanston. They had to bring in lights because they played the game at 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central Time, and ABC called it. It was the same. It's the same situation they had with the Cubs, but fortunately for the Cubs, they got it straightened out. They got it fixed. The next year, they had a great set of lights at Wrigley Field, and they shaped it up. They learned a lot from that night.
On that same date, August 8th in 1990, two things happened. Pete Rose begins his 5-month prison term at Marion Federal Prison Camp.
Yep.
And Carlton Fisk ties Johnny Bench with hitting 327 home runs as a catcher.
Carlton Fisk.
I knew that you would remember that name there, Snowman.
Number 72 for my White Sox. He was number 27 for Boston. But number 72, Carlton Fisk, the commander. Love him.
Absolutely was. In 2004, on that same date, John Elway is inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Snowman. Watching old John Elway and getting those last 2 Super Bowls in his last 2 years of his career was definitely something to behold there, Snowman.
And he rode it away into the sunset on top of the mountain. He rode away into the sunset on top of the mountain with a Super Bowl MVP in tow. That, of course, for Super Bowl 33 in Miami.
Yes. The next date on August 9th, 1988, Edmonton Oilers trade Wayne Gretzky to the LA Kings for $15 to $20 million.
They ran out of money.
In 1988. That's a lot of money in 1988, too.
Yeah, it was. Especially between franchises. And back in 1988, hardly anybody talked NHL unless you were talking about the then dynasty of the Edmonton Oilers, and he got traded to the Kings. For me, I thought it would be a death sentence for the NHL because at the time, Wayne Gretzky was one of the faces of the league, along with Mario Lemieux, and Lemieux was on his way up. But it wasn't the death of the NHL.
No, as far as
the death of the NHL,
luckily it saved it.
It did. It did.
In 2002, on that same date, August 9th, San Francisco Giants outfielder Barry Bonds hits his 600th career home run. Just to think that 5 years later, he would get to the legendary number of what he did. He hit a lot of home runs in the 2000s for an older player.
And that 600th home run was a bomb. It was a bomb.
Yep.
And late in his career, the Bonds home runs were not cheap.
Yep. And on August 9th of 2022, last year, was when Serena announced her retirement.
Mm-hmm.
And her intention, she announced her retirement intention during an interview with Vogue.
And she had just become a mother, and she wanted time with her. She wanted time with her family. You know, I stood up and applauded her career.
Yep.
I stood up and applauded her career.
Now, on our airing date with WQEE, I want to do August 10th before we wrap things up there, Snowman. And some things happen on August 10th of 1934 as Babe Ruth announces that this is his final season as a full-time player in 1934 before he went the following year to the Boston Braves and finished during the season.
Mm-hmm.
So, because he was trying to become a manager and it just didn't work out for the old Babe at that point, man.
Yeah, it didn't.
So, in 1969, Don Sutton breaks his 13-game losing streak to the Cubs with a 4-2 victory. 1971, Twins Harmon Killebrew is the 10th to amass 500 home runs and adds his 501st on the same date, August 10th, 1970.
Harmon Killebrew, the old Minnesota Twins.
In 1981, Pete Rose, 3,631 career hit, breaks Stan Musial's NL hit record in 1981.
Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame, but that's a subject for another time.
A man that we talked about earlier as well is big on this date. In 1983, first World Championships in athletics, Carl Lewis wins gold in men's long jump. It was his first championship.
Mm-hmm. Carl Lewis again. In
1984, the U.S. beat Spain 96-65 to win the men's basketball gold medal at the Los Angeles Olympics. Future Dream Team members Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing, and Chris Mullin featured. Do you recall anything from that game there, Snowman? Did you watch that game?
I was glued in front of the television watching that game.
A young Snowman in 1984.
Yep. I was glued in front of me, my dad, and my mom, glued in front of the television watching that game, and we're all just in awe of the players that were playing at that time. Wow.
The following year in 1985, Oakland A's Dave Kingman is the 21st to hit 400 home runs off Matt Young at Seattle.
King Kong.
Mm-hmm.
King Kong.
Just think, the Oakland A's may not exist for much longer.
I hate saying that.
I hate it as well when you think about how historic their team is. For
and
so
bring
many.
back the Montreal Expos, please.
If you're gonna go anywhere, do that. 1986, on a year later, on the same date, August 10th, Billy Martin Day, as his uniform number 1 is retired. 1986.
Yep, Monument Park forever.
Most definitely was a force to behold in that on that franchise. Speaking of that team, in 1996, on this date, August 10th, the Yankees lose, ending third best home series victory at 24-game victory streak.
Yep. And that was the year they won the title over Atlanta in 6 games.
Speaking of Atlanta, in 1997, on this date, Atlanta Braves signed Greg Maddux to then record 5-year, $57.5 million deal, which would end up being his last contract in Atlanta.
Let's see. And Cy Young, best pitcher, no fastball, Cy Young. It's Greg Maddux. It's Greg Maddux. What are you gonna do? It's Greg Maddux.
And the last thing I want to talk about on this date of August 10th, in 2008, American superstar swimmer Michael Phelps wins the 400-meter individual medley at the Beijing Olympics in world record 4.3.84.
I mean, it's Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps in the pool equals Aquaman.
He does.
Michael Phelps in the pool equals Michael Phelps in a pool with a title on the line equals Aquaman. That's all I gotta say.
And then he got caught with hits from the bong, and everything went down south for a little bit for Michael Phelps. But
he rebounded.
He did. He
got caught with hits, and he basically said, "So what?"
Yes. Now, speaking of historic things, Snowman, I see you added something to the stream. Did you want to share with the viewers before we got on out of here?
Our cricket call of the day, brought to you by Cricket Wireless, is this.
Alvarado's 2-1. And Alvarez belts it deep to center. It sends back Fearley. Still going back at the wall. See you later. See you later. A 3-run home run for Yordan Alvarez. And the Astros go up 3-1. What a shot. Bombs away for Yordan once again. And it's madness in our house again. A 450-foot home run to straightaway center field. He hit that over the batter's eye.
Nice.
He sure did.
He did.
That call, television video courtesy of Fox, and the radio call courtesy of KBME. My good friend Robert Ford and Steve Sparks were the voices.
Before we get on out of here, let's go ahead and acknowledge the comments from the fans one more time. Is they say from Dietz, Carl Lewis, one of the best athletes of all time that no one will ever acknowledge except those of us who say him.
Yep.
No, so for those of us who saw him,
no argument
says Dietz, yeah, and most definitely, and those of us who were alive between the 80s and 90s, especially because they showed a lot of clips on ESPN during that time. Since the 2000s, the new millennium, we haven't really seen much mentioning of Carl Lewis, which is a shame because for what he did during the 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, give the man his due when it comes to what he's done as a sports figure.
And
in the depth of the Montreal Expos.
Bring back the Expos, please. Just bring back bring back the Expos. Bring back the Expos.
Bring them back. Bring them back, as he says. Hashtag bring back the Expos.
Yes, indeed.
Is it a trade or a sale?
At that time, it was both.
Yeah.
At that time, it was both.
I think you're talking about Wayne Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky.
Talking about him in
When
1988. For the 15 to that still mind boggles me. In 1988, 15 to $20 million was like $3 to $5 billion today.
Well, it was the end of the Oilers dynasty as we knew it. They went on to win a cup in 1990 when they beat the Boston Bruins with Mark Messier and company. But
that's because they still had the back end of what got them the championships in the 80s. They only really lost Gretzky in that deal.
Yeah.
And he had a solid team around him. Gretzky was the leading man of that dynasty, but they got one more because they still had the remainder of that core minus Gretzky, which not many teams. It just goes to show you how talented that team was around him. Because once you get rid of the biggest star of a team, I don't recall in sports ever where they go back and win it within 2 years.
I don't recall it either.
So that goes to speak volumes about how strong that team was. But yeah, Dietz, very good call on that. I remember sitting at the dinner table as a 10-year-old hearing that on the NBC Nightly News talking about the Wayne Gretzky deal.
Yeah.
So Billy Martin has the number retired, then gets fired by George about 500 times by my count. Before that, because I think Billy Martin had passed away before 1986. Wasn't this a posthumous retirement of the number, Snowman?
I think it was.
Okay.
I think it was.
Because 1986 is where it was. World champs, baby, says Cole Johnson. Astros. Suck it, asterisk whiners. But the Astros cheated. So hey, I'll give it to you.
Would you please shut the hell up?
Because most of you that are whining about it are just need to do this.
Stay off the weed. Yeah. What? Yeah. What? Yeah. What? Yeah. What?
Absolutely.
Brilliant job, my man. Brilliant.
Thank you. Carl Lewis, a great athlete, but a terrible singer.
He put a crack in the Meadowlands Arena with that god awful performance of the national anthem. And when I say god awful, all I had to hear was 2 notes of this, and I walked away. What's up, Darian Hopkins?
Thank you for joining us, Darian Hopkins. Appreciate you out there as we are on a little bit of an extended episode. As I'll have to trim this part out for WQEE, but because we've got a great following right now at the end of the show, I wanted to give them a little bit of extra bonus time today.
Yep.
Is that Conn Smith or Smythe? Man?
Conn Smythe.
Winner in 1990 was Bill Ranford, who played the stunt double as Jim Craig in the movie Miracle.
Hey, he sure did.
That's definitely a good random toss of the day.
It is.
Definitely a good one.
Yeah, it is.
And terrible pitcher at Ryan McCarthy. Let me talk to you. Hey, I'll give it to you. Let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you. Let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah, baby.
Hey, this is Darian from my Darian Hopkins show on my radio channel.
Thank you, Darian. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. And if you wouldn't mind, in the links down below, has all of our social media stuff between me and Snowman. My YouTube channel's on there as well. If you would not mind subscribing to my YouTube channel as well, it's Sertoba Media up in the top corner right over here.
Give Sertoba Media a subscribe, y'all. Give them a subscribe and a follow. You won't be disappointed.
I appreciate it.
You will not be disappointed. Kentucky Fried Chickens all over the place.
Always, all day, every day. And it's time for Willy Bucks as well. So, and the Rockets red glare.
Oh, talking about Carl Lewis blowing the roof off of the Meadowlands Arena. We don't mean in a good way.
Yeah, because he definitely wasn't saying this after.
I think I got my swagger back.
Nobody was saying that. Not after that performance.
They were saying this.
That's terrible.
They were saying that 100,000 times.
Along with this.
Ain't nobody care. Who cares? Ain't nobody care.
I love it.
Snowman,
I love it.
Cole Sports says, thank you for another wonderful show. Gentlemen, you both are awesome. You guys are awesome. We cannot do this. We cannot do this without the fanatics out there, is what Snowman calls the fanatic feedback zone. And not do it without you guys. So thank you all for tuning in. We've had a great show today for episode 32. Snowman, before we get on out of here, what are your closing thoughts to give to the fans? What are your closing thoughts to give them before we roll on out of here? Because we have to close this out properly, especially for our listeners from WQEE. What is your closing thoughts?
My closing thoughts are these. I apologize to Sensei Drew.
No, we'll do that off there. We'll do that off there. Retry that.
I'm doing this here.
No, we're gonna do that off there. I'm not talking about this right now. So we're gonna
trust me. Let me get this out, please. Let me get this out, please. Just hear me out and let me get this out. There's a lot of people I need to apologize to. Sensei Drew being one, Cole being another, my wife, my family, because the last month plus I've been an absolute grump. And I hate feeling that way. This episode gets me back in the chair and just reminds me of the blessings that I have. And losing a dear friend over the weekend, tough to do. And I know Drew wanted me to say this off, do this off the air, but I can't help it. He's a friend. He's a brother. And I disappointed him. Period. Even with everything that's going on, I disappointed him, and I didn't keep my appointment. And I can't say I'm sorry enough. And if he chooses not to forgive me, then I totally understand, because I fell off. I fell off the wagon with a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm rebuilding that damn thing. But there are some things I had to cut out. Didn't realize it until lately. When Drew pointed it out and Cole pointed it out and my wife pointed it out, I didn't listen. I certainly didn't listen. I am now. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and give my closing thoughts now when it comes to this episode 32 of the Sports Senseis Unleashed. First of all, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all on WQEE who still have us, as we still send you our episodes each week, and you still broadcast them and listen to them. Thank you very much for tuning in, as we've brought you as much factual stuff when it comes to the sports history, the world of sports, baseball. We'll talk some football action, NFL news. I want to thank the Snowman for being here today. All the things that we were able to pull off when it comes to this episode 32 of the Sports Senseis Unleashed. As we come to a close, the Snowman and I do, and when it does happen that way, we only have one more thing left to tell you. Snowman, tell him.
Only thing we got left is a badass outro.
And as always, stay safe out there in these streets. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I hope to see you back here next week for episode 33.